I can't see if it says we're recording or not.
Yes,
so
it likes the buttons.
All right, everybody, welcome to a special episode on location. Welcome to Sips, Riffs, and Flix. I'm your co-host, Kevin Head. We have...
Hey, everybody, it's Brandon. I made it.
Brandon's here.
That's right.
And we're here with Joe and Darren, and we are on site at Red Buffalo Brewing Company here in Statesville, North Carolina. Welcome to the show, guys.
Right. Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Happy we're all here together.
yeah,
Thanks for coming.
yeah.
So once we started the podcast of the Sips, Riffs, and Flix, one of the things we wanted to do from the very beginning was come to the Red Buffalo and have a taste of some of your beers here. For those of you who are fans and listen to the Appetite for Discussion podcast, Joe is one of the early guests on almost 2 years ago. Well, 2 years ago.
2 years ago, almost exactly. I think it was 20th
Of November.
something.
And you said you'd been open like 2 weeks at
Yeah,
that time, right?
we opened November 2nd, so it was right in 17th to 20th, somewhere.
Happy anniversary.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I was going to say, y'all just celebrated your 2 anniversary.
2-year-olds.
Yeah, 2 years.
We're 2 years old. Y'all tamper tantrums like 2 years old?
We're on terrible twos right now. We're on terrible twos, so y'all might be in for it.
So, and for those of you listening and watching, we've never done a podcast with multiple people and microphones and whatnot. So if you see us get up and trying to fix it, we're just trying to figure this out. And the good news is you get to watch and learn with us. Okay? That's how we do everything here.
It's educational.
Everything's on the fly, man. We learn as we go.
Cheers.
Cheers to
No
that.
extra charge for the lessons, right?
Yeah, not at all. So, Joe, you guys been open, you and Darren, y'all been open now for 2 years. Congratulations. And real quick before we jump into sampling these Red Buffalo's beers. And just so you know, Joe, if we come across a beer, I have to be honest, we have to give the viewers the real truth. If I don't like them, I have to tell them.
That's okay.
It's okay.
I'm okay with that.
All right.
Maybe I don't like them.
So real quick before we dive into these delicious beers here, 2 years ago, did you think you would be where you are today, or did you think you'd be further or not as far along?
What is that? That's a tough question.
I
I think because before you open something, you envision what you think it's going to be. And then when you're 6 months in, 12 months, 2 years, you look at what you are today, and I'm really happy about what we are today, but I can't say this is exactly what I envisioned.
Right.
I knew I wanted music, and I wanted to, us to make our own beer, serve some outside beers as well, because we carry outside beer as well. I didn't know it was going to become the music venue it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the people who do know us and come here regularly, they come for the beer, but they come for music too. So I think that would have been one of the things that going into it, yeah, I like music. It's going to be nice to have music here once in a while, but I don't think I anticipated it was going to evolve into what it did. And it probably wouldn't have evolved as much as it did as a music venue without Darren here, because of his music background. And of course, he has a Holt up band. And I think just because Darren's a player, as well as knowing the players in town, they want to, and it's a cool music venue that we lucked out with great acoustics and all that.
Yeah.
We decorated it kind of funky. That was part of the plan, but I think you put everything together. Darren's knowledge and love of music. I love music. I'm just a listener though.
Yeah.
I don't have the talent. And I think the music that you see here today, or the vibe you get here about the music, a lot has to go to Darren on that one because of his input and his suggestions and his talent and his family and his daughter. And it's a really neat thing. So
Yeah. Well, one thing's for sure, even if the music was great, if you didn't have the music, if the beer sucked, people wouldn't be here. So obviously the beer is good.
Well, you know what? This isn't the Darren Holt show, but
let's talk about beer.
Darren brews about 90% of the beer here.
Yeah.
So, along with Mikkel, and I stick my head in there once in a while until they kick me out. But yeah, Darren brews a lot of the beer. In fact, one is named after him, and we'll get to that in a little while.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think Joe, honestly, Joe allowed me and other staff here to kind of a lot of leeway and some kind of like almost like a carte blanche to try things.
Yeah.
And without that, none of it would have happened, either with the beer or the music or any of that. And I think Joe had a good point. Whenever you start something, you always hope, you have to be hopes it's going to do real well. Sometimes not so well. Sometimes better. Other businesses better than others. I think everybody goes into a venture feeling really good about it with high hopes.
Right.
But I think everybody's first year is usually humbling to them. And with that being said, I thought the first year here was good. The second year, under the conditions that we've been under, has been just as good, if not better. And I really throw that back to Joe having a dream and a vision.
This is the mutual
Me,
episode.
This is beautiful.
Me coming on, and falling into it. Us just meeting. I was here to book music. I came out and booked some music with Joe when we first opened, and we just hit it off and became good friends. I had just left the job after 14 years. They had a buyout, and I wasn't comfortable with the situation and turned the offer down. So I was in between, and we decided to get together to see what would happen with no hard feelings if it didn't work out. Right? Well, that was a couple of years ago now, and then Shauna has been here since the very beginning. Oh, was that the first time? I think first time. Mikhail's been with us pretty close, you know. And those four, like I said, Joe had the vision. He let us in on it, and we believed. And we had a really uncommon thing happen where people came together and liked each other and formed a little bit of a family. We all found a home.
Yep.
We care about the place like it's ours. Joe lets us care about the place like it's ours. And I think that's what is the magic or the missing ingredient on any venture that's hard to find. It's finding the right staff that really care and want to be part of something and want to build it. I think really that's been the magic behind this.
You're right. Well, and I think people feel that. I think when people come to Red Buffalo, whenever they walk in, it obviously you see it, it's cool. It's the it's just a cool spot, first off. But when you walk in, you can tell when you walk into a place that people love what they're doing. You can tell if the staff like the boss. If the boss, I don't think I've ever been in here that y'all have not been here. Serving drinks, doing whatever's needed. And people see that. You greet people, you talk to people. So then they're not customers. They become part of the family.
Oh, sure.
Also, people feel that.
Sure. I mean, that's always what we're striving for, is a welcoming atmosphere where you're leaving your house, you're leaving the job, and you're coming here to get something else out of life besides work.
Yeah.
So you come here, you have a good time, but I think that's only enhanced by what you were saying, Kevin, about feeling welcome, and people know my name, and they know what I like to drink. So yeah, it's been a really unique experience the last 2 years, and like Darren said, year one was, I think with every milestone, you look back and say, and you make mistakes and you get better by trial and error.
Yeah.
And then we're looking back on year 2 and looking forward on 3, and you look back on 2 and go, we continue to evolve.
Yeah.
And I was in a conversation with Shauna recently about, when we used to do X amount of dollars, we felt so busy and we're unorganized, and now we do that and we feel slow.
Yeah.
So without even the logistics, even behind the bar and things like that, how we brew, everything's got in hand. So yes, it's been a great process, and looking forward to number 3.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to tasting this.
All right. Yeah, let's try the first one, and we'll keep talking.
Yeah. So, and by the way, cheers.
Cheers. Yeah, cheers.
To many more.
So before we start, we are drinking.
This is a Mouthy Blonde.
Okay, this is Mouthy Blonde. And just for the viewers out there, so we are starting with the lowest ABV and climbing to the highest ABV, right?
More or less.
More or less. So we're going to go from light beers to dark. Okay. And it just so happens it pretty much goes
follows
there.
Okay. And so for all the viewers out there, you already know this about me, but I am your Miller Lite Michelob Ultra guy. Yep. So if you're that guy that walks into a brewery and says, what do you have that's like Miller Lite? I will tell you exactly what these taste like, because I don't drink a lot of the hard, heavy stuff.
You will too.
Well, we have converted Kevin over to some craft beer that he likes.
Yes. Oh, yes.
We got at least 3 that I know of.
Oh, yeah. There are several I like. So, all right. So Mouthy Blonde.
Mouthy Blonde.
This is our latest one.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Boy, that's good.
The Mountain Blonde is good. I mean, that reminds you of like your Bud Light and Miller Lite,
It does.
something like that.
So
Light crisp.
when I come to Red Buffalo, there's definitely go-tos, but Mountain Blonde is typically my go-to at Red Buffalo. So I already knew.
And when people come in saying they've never been here before and they say, hey, I'm a Bud Light drinker, I'm a Miller Lite, whatever it might be, this is what we introduce them to. And I would say 8 out of 10 people go to this. And if they don't, they go to the next beer we're going to try, which is our Chillbilly. But I really think we should
We got to
finish this.
We won't leave glasses at these parts.
But one of the things I wanted to touch back on, you guys were talking about the whole cohesiveness and allowing Darren and those guys some leeway to do what they do. What you guys are creating, you're not creating beer. I mean, it's art, right? Because if art sucks, people aren't going to like it, they're not going to buy it.
I like the way you're looking at it.
Okay, so what you guys are doing here, you actually are making art, not just with the music venue side, but also with your beer side. You know, and you have to let artists figure it out. You have to make them fail. You have to let them.
It's just like a chef in the kitchen. A lot of people say, who's the brewmaster now? There's no brewmaster here.
Right.
I don't like the term because it's almost like you're perfect, and you're never perfect because you have to keep evolving and practicing and making mistakes to get better. And so I compare the analogy of a chef in the kitchen.
Yeah,
we're trying different recipes to enhance flavors, and sometimes I really hit, and sometimes I don't, and those never go to the tap.
Right. We've been fortunate with lots more that work than you don't.
Right.
So is there a beer that y'all sat and talked about, and you were like, "That's going to be so good," and you tried it, and then you immediately like threw it away, and I was like, "We're never trying this again."
Well,
Pineapple Blonde and
Yeah.
about
the
6
pineapple
month mark or so.
The Pineapple Blonde was a disaster, and we didn't. Well, we put it on the tap, but we only had a couple like regular customers try it to get their feedback because number one, we aren't big blonde drinkers.
Yeah.
So it's tough for us to really. But when we tasted it, we didn't like it, so we had a couple people try it, and after we got a couple thumbs down.
Yeah.
We knew we were right.
Yes.
We tried a few things with the blonde. The blonde was not a beer that we needed to add flavor to, or add fruits, vegetables, anything like that in the bowl to enhance it. It needed to stay a light crisp.
All right, so we have a rating scale on Sips, Riffs, and Flix that we just created a few episodes ago, and it's called "Would You Walk Across the Street for It?"
Mm-hmm. So definitely Mountain Blonde. I'd run across the street.
That's right.
To drink it.
I'd walk across the street for it.
That's a family favorite of his.
Yeah,
it's not just kind of.
Yeah, my wife loves the blonde, and what are we getting ready to taste next? This Chillbilly. Okay, so
have you had this before, Kevin?
No, I have not. Yeah, I've had.
All right. So yeah, we'll try the Chillbilly.
So did we answer the question? You'll walk across the street. Would you walk?
Oh, 100%.
Because you're not going to hurt our feelings if there's something.
I'm gonna tell you,
And yes, you are correct. I would walk my wife across the street also because she drinks Mountain Blonde all the time.
Okay.
Now the funny part is I did taste that pineapple, and I would not walk across the street.
Yeah,
I would walk you back across the street because I'm
And I'm
trying
so
to
upset that I didn't get to taste that one. If y'all ever need a blonde taster, I can come taste some blondes.
I think we decided to leave it blonde just
Yeah,
what
you don't
said.
want to be
Like
flavor.
that. You know what? Yeah, don't mess with it.
It does well with numbers, and it's one of the best names. It's one of the best names, I think.
Yeah, Mountain Blonde. We have a great sign.
Yeah, the sign is awesome. Yeah.
And if you haven't been here and met our bar manager Sean, if you meet Sean, you know exactly who.
Kind of named after.
Yeah, you know who that beer is named after.
All right, come up with the name. I'm not sure. Anyways, the next beer is the Chillbilly Ale.
Okay.
And this is like the uptick from the blonde, 5.2%.
Okay.
This is also named after our radio personalities downtown. They asked us to make a beer for them.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what it came out to, and this is the Chillbilly Ale.
Okay. All right.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys. Smooth as can be.
Big deal.
So have you never had this one?
Oh no, I drink a lot of Chillbillies when I come here. It's either the Chillbilly for me, or I mix things up.
No, you can't say you drink a lot of them because
Well, you can't because when you come to Red Buffalo,
we've learned the secret about Red Buffalo.
So I remember about 6 months in, one time he came up to me and goes, man, Kevin and I, we've had a deep conversation that your ABVs is
not
way
right.
off.
They're not right.
So really, you should judge the Red Buffalo beers and dog years.
Yeah.
As we call dog beers.
Yeah.
So if you drink one, it's kind of like 7.
Yeah.
I can tell you. I mean, the ABV is the formula is correct.
Yeah,
I know
that's
what it is.
Yeah.
But I will.
My
I
attorney
will
says it's free. Yeah.
I would 100% agree that beyond ABV, and this is just craft beer in general, because even with the Mouthy Blonde being at 4.5, I believe it is. 4.5. All right, so it's 4.5. So is a Yingling.
Right.
But I will promise 2 Mouthy Blondes will give you a head buzz a little faster than 2 Yinglings.
You got that right.
That's
So
like
there's something
10
about craft beer beyond ABV that just
So this,
hits you a little harder.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
to
it
go
does.
with what he's saying, this is the problem with Red Buffalo beers for me. This is the only downside to drinking Red Buffalo beers.
Too much for your
Being
money.
naked downtown.
There's again. The only downside is the beers that I drink here, they're so good and they go down so easy. Whereas when I'm at other places and I'm drinking craft beers, I'm sipping them. These I drink them like they're Michelob Ultras. I'm just
Just
knocking them
because
back.
you found the ones that you like.
And they're so good, so they sneak up on you and they kick
Where
you.
your tavern.
Well, that leads to a good point that really all the beers that we make, we're shooting to make easy drinking beers. We're not trying to be too edgy, too hoppy, too overly overly anything really. We want to make easy drinking beers. We feel like we will drink more of them that way.
Yeah, and we will, and we do.
And we have.
Yeah. There's
I have
been,
certainly even myself been to breweries, and I like edgy and hoppy and over the top beers as well. But I've had to set some down and walk away from them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they just weren't for me.
So even
But I don't think that happens here very much. And if I see it, it kind of breaks my heart. But it's been very few times that I've seen that, and it's mostly been because somebody just walked away from their beer and forgot where it was, and they're at the bar getting another one. And then I feel a little better.
that's right. We just got it twice.
Let me get another one. But it happens, man. A lot of breweries go really, craft beers going so crazy. Really rules are out the window.
Yeah.
And people are, they're going to the extremes in a lot of situations, and I don't think it fits the masses.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, stuff's getting weird out there, but to each his own. That's how we learn and evolve.
And that's why we have we support them all, but we have a favorite place. Or
That's exactly
Right.
some feel like those edgy beers, this probably isn't the place.
Yeah.
But we have one, but we're gonna
You're gonna get there. So the Chillbillies. Kevin, would you walk across the street for it?
Yes, definitely.
100%. Me too.
Yep.
And how we can to introduce Joe and Darren to this new rating system we have. For example, maybe there's a band or something that you don't really like at all, or maybe there's, for example, you gentlemen, is there an actress that you just think, if she lived across the street and I was a single man, I can't stand her. And if she invited me over for cocktails and a night in the hot tub, I wouldn't walk across the damn street for it. That's the rating system.
Gotcha.
So, or a band, or a drink. So,
Okay.
yeah. So that's.
I think I understand now.
It's
I know it's hard. I know it's hard.
Yeah, it's pretty
I need that
Yeah.
analogy.
I'll get it.
Some people do like, wow, I don't get it. Why you walk across the street?
Like last episode, we would not walk across the street to hear Luke Bryan perform.
No,
Not ever.
never.
No.
Now, if he came to Red Buffalo, I'd support you.
You drink outside.
That's right. All right. So
I would walk across the street to mix in with all the ladies that are dancing.
Yeah.
You're talking about the lady with the hot tub.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So number 3 here is your blueberry.
Blueberry Ale. That was the smashing surprise success last year. Let's take a little taste.
Cheers.
Ready?
Cheers.
This is a beer you need to smell first.
Mm.
You need to get that little floral on it and then taste it.
When I smell that, it reminds me of here, because things started really kicking off with the blueberry. It was a hot cellar.
That's about, I remember it that way too. Like when the blueberry hit, it seemed like Red Buffalo
was-
called on.
April of 2019. When we opened, going back, we had 5 beers.
Yeah.
And then in January, we brought out the Red Ale, Chocolate Stout. This came out in April of last year. And we just thought it was going to be a seasonal beer. September, October, it will go away and get ready for your darker beers or whatever you plan on doing that season. And we brought it down to Friday after 5, and people were going crazy over it. So, September, October came around, and there was no way we could take it off the tap, because it's always like, when we look at our weekly, monthly sales, it's always either number 1 or number 2.
Yeah. Even in November.
Even in the
Right now.
like last year, like last winter, January, December, it was still either number 1 or number 2.
The nice part about this beer is it's smooth and it gives you just enough blueberry hint to where it's not overpowering, but it's there with you.
A lot of the comments we get from people is they really like it, and it's not, a lot of fruity beers are overly flavored, and this one is not. So it's been a huge success. We're really happy with it, and that's why it's still on the tab.
I do remember, like you said, I remember the blueberry. I remember people starting to talk more about, have you gone to Red Buffalo? Have you tried the blueberry?
Yep.
That's when it really, I think it kind of coincided with Red Buffalo being more known around here. There was a release after that was smashingly successful.
It was smashingly successful.
And never came back. Well, that's another episode.
That's a tearjerker episode.
So the one thing that I've always told everybody about the blueberry, for me, out of all the beers I've tasted here, the blueberry is my favorite. But I have to make myself not drink them, because there's something about these that they hit me harder than any of the other beers. And I don't know what the ABV is of this one versus like the blonde.
So Kevin, you need to take the IV. You gotta take the IV out. That's what they're gonna use so hard.
But the blueberry, it goes down smooth. It doesn't overpower. But there's something about these. I get 2 or 3, and I'm like, I have to switch to something different.
It's really comes down to conditioning. You just gotta work at it.
Right.
You
You have to keep practicing, keep stretching.
Don't drink less. Drink more every time.
I get it.
Drink one more beer every time. It's kind of like
It's like
lifting weights. Everything
Yeah,
else, everything needs to go up, not down.
Yeah.
You know, so in the mornings, when you're running, thoughts while running. Now you have to start having thoughts while drinking. No, actually, don't put that out.
So while Joe is giving us our next round of tasters here, so Darren, you talked a little bit about, and I was actually going to ask this question.
Sure.
So when Joe was getting ready to open, I met Joe. We had talked about different things and whatever. And then I've known you for years through family and friends and music and everything. And then I remember you being here to book music, and then it was just kind of like you never left. So
I was probably here.
That's what his wife said. So is that really how it happened? To try to book some music or play here, and then y'all just kind of hit it off, and then you started brewing, and here we are.
Yeah, but I came in. I want to say it was the grand opening. I would say it was. Kevin and Bryce were here playing up in that front window, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And it was the first night of music. I think there was a soft opening. Is that right, Joe?
Friday the 1st was a soft opening. Then Saturday, the Pumpkin Fest.
Yeah, right.
Saturday. Oh, yeah.
The next Saturday, the week following or whatnot, was the grand opening. So that's when I came in. I missed the soft opening. Came in for the grand opening because Bryce and a few people told me that Joe was interested in talking to me about books and music. So I came by to see him, wanted to support the place. And, we talked for a little bit about booking music, and then we just got sidetracked talking about other things. And he asked me, what I was doing, day job wise, other than music. And I told him I was kind of in between things. He's like, do you know anything about brewing? And I'd done some home brewing, and had maybe a little more experience in distilling.
I watched a YouTube video.
I'd seen
watched
moonshiners.
yeah.
I'd seen moonshiners a few times. And so anyway, I said, I don't know if I'm what you're looking for, man. I was like, but this, it could possibly be what I'm looking for. Cause I definitely had decided I wasn't going out of town. And as y'all know, it's hard to, states where you're chasing money, you're probably going to be commuting. Right. I don't mean that in a bad way against the city states. By any means, I love this place. But jobs are, well-paying jobs are scarce. So a lot of people end up driving. And I had done that before. My prior job, I'd been at Flix. I'd driven out of town to work. I just decided I wasn't going to do that. And I wanted to find something I could be passionate about, guys. I wanted to, at the end of the day, I wanted to have a feeling of accomplishment. I wanted to do something with my hands again.
Yeah.
Even if you just go mow your grass, you look at it before you get started, and it looks rough. Then you get done, you can look at it, you're like, look what I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I spent years on computers and doing sales and management and just at the end of the day, I never felt a sense of accomplishment. There was going to be another 100 emails tomorrow.
Yep. I
didn't get to see anything I had built or made, or and I was drowning in that. I was really drowning in that, and I wasn't happy. So I decided, money, no money. I wanted to find something I could be passionate about, or really want to try to build something from scratch. So this all kind of seems like it could be a possible good fit.
Yeah.
And it turned out that it was, man. It just turned out that it was.
The industry thing, not to interrupt you, but through the Appetite show and even this show, when we talk to people, they have been in maybe high stress jobs, or they graduate college, they do whatever, they start in that profession, they in the beginning or years down the road, and then they go, man, to hell with this, money or not, I'm going to try to find, or I'm going to do what I enjoy, like the guy from Iron Republic.
Yeah.
Life's short, guys. Life's short. If you're going to spend the majority of it doing something, man, find something. Live simpler.
Yeah.
Live simpler and cut down your bills and find something that you can enjoy.
The guy from Carolina Malt too. That guy was an attorney, and he still is an attorney, but he was like, I'm done with this.
Well, and I think COVID, honestly, it's been tough on small businesses. It's been tough on everybody. But I think what you're saying fits right in. I think it's also taught us to appreciate things more, family friendships, the businesses that have made it, keep supporting them. I think it's kind of reset us, I think.
Sure.
It's also taught that we have excess of too much stuff.
Yeah.
Right. You need to get rid of the stuff. And you do, you call Hunter call.
I should talk to you about that.
Absolutely. Real quick, I want to go back to the blueberry, because I definitely walked across the street for it.
Yeah.
And no kidding with. But I want to ask a really stupid question and a real quick answer, Darren. So how do you get the blueberry taste? Obviously,
or can you tell us?
Well, I will answer that with the corporate response that's proprietary.
Of course.
But I would also say that the simple, quick answer for that is that we do both. We use blueberries, and we also use some extracts. So that's which.
The hardest part is cleaning your feet after everything's done.
That's
right.
I'm not going to taste it. And another thing that I think is super cool too, you talk about seasonal stuff and special. When you guys use local farmers and stuff, like when y'all did the strawberry and you used Howard strawberry.
Absolutely right.
And that was good.
Really good.
That was good.
Yeah.
That was really good.
That was quick in and out. We didn't have that many strawberries to make enough to
Yeah.
And we sold out like 3 weeks.
Yeah, it went fast. Yeah. And it was good. But I love that y'all get the local people do things.
Yeah, you try to do that as much as you can.
Yeah.
Are
we ready?
No, I'm ready, man.
Okay.
Absolutely.
What do we have next?
So the next one, we're going to taste the red ale, then the Holt jalapeno, and a blueberry seltzer. We're going to end this round.
So I've never had any of these three. I've never had any of.
Okay. I want to say I've had the red ale. I'll let you know here in a minute.
So what would you guys compare like a red ale to for your Miller Lite drinkers? Like what?
I think it would fit the Killian's Red.
Okay.
Kind of mix between that and Red Oak.
I was going to say, it's more like
yeah,
Red Oak.
if you're familiar with when I describe this to people, I'll ask them if they like Red Oak. They go, oh yeah, I know. It's just we have a little bit more.
Don't tell us.
Gusto, a little bit more malt. Yeah. So if you like Red Oak, you're gonna like this. Is what I tell people.
And is there a certain ingredient that makes beer a red beer?
Yes. Most for this situation, it's rye. It's rye. For the most part, that and in a assortment of other grains that we use making this. The proprietary stuff. But the difference in this beer and a lot of beers that we have here, the biggest difference is probably rye.
Okay.
All right.
So red.
So here's the red ale. Cheers,
Cheers,
everybody. This is like, if you like Chillbilly, it's that next step up.
It is. It's a step up.
It's
still a pretty light
It
beer.
is still pretty light, but it's got something that just sits right there on the.
Well, right there on the-
Because you're a light beer person, I'm going to go into it like this.
A little more hot.
This is an acquired taste.
It is.
Yeah.
It's got a little bit of a hot profile.
It's-
This would be a bigger jump from, say, the Chillbilly to the Red Ale, or the Blueberry, either one, to the Red Ale. There's a little bit jump where you're getting a little bit more hop in there, and that's that scratchy on the back of your tongue.
That's it.
That
Yeah.
whole
Right there.
Well, like you said, the grain profile, all that, it's just, if you're used to drinking Michelob Ultra all the time, this is going to have a bite.
well, and the reason I drink Michelob Ultra is obviously to keep my physique.
That's why I'm drinking the Miller Lights. 96 cars.
So, for all of you fellow,
Well, that's funny that you say, because the reason I drink these other beers is to keep my physique.
so
I don't want to get skinny.
because wintertime's coming.
Like we talked earlier.
Wintertime's coming. So for all you Miller Lite, Michelob Ultra light beer drinkers, this is our fourth beer.
Yes.
So far, we're on the Red Ale now. We're 4 in, and
Which is equivalent to 7 bucks.
right. And yeah, these are just tastings, but we've already had like 8 beers.
We can't.
So we're 4 in, and we are still on beers that you could come in here and order, and you will not miss.
Yeah, no, this one's good. I have had this one before, but you're right. You can definitely tell the difference between
You can.
the
It's
first set of beers and this beer.
This would be like when you get like used to being out drinking craft beer. So let me get that red ale. Like it's your next step.
This is going from like a Ford Pinto to a Dodge Charger.
Ooh,
That's
You're
a beast.
you're going from the automatic to the manual.
But it's like you get that's like your next step, like you're growing with your craft beers. So this is your next step. But it's still good. That's an easy drinker. I could sit with that for sure.
First real full body beer we get.
little full
Yeah,
bottle.
right. And this is one of our top sellers, along with Blueberry, Flat Tower IPA. Tasted for a while.
Mhm.
And knowing that you guys like lighter beers,
Mhm.
that's why we started to
Yeah.
smoothly
That's
go
right.
and transition into the big boy.
This is and this is going to be very interesting, and I will go ahead and say this because I don't want to hurt people's feelings that I like, and I like you guys a lot.
But I'm
When we get to the Clock Tower IPA, I am a little nervous because I have never, 40 years old, been drinking for several years. I've never had an IPA that I like.
And that's okay. And that's
To this
okay.
day.
Like,
well, the good news is,
you'll probably not like this.
To this day, I have never had one, and I try them randomly. I try them, and I cannot find them.
don't worry, you're not gonna make this one because you'll be asleep by the time we get there. Because you'll be wasted from this beer.
Guys, no beer is for everybody. We realize that.
Oh.
No beer, no one beer is for every person.
Well, it's just like whiskeys and anything.
That's why there's so many varieties. That's why you have variety.
Absolutely.
That's why my grandfather always says, why there's chocolate, there's strawberry. There's a reason that there's variety out there because nobody wants one thing forever.
Right.
And you might be surprised by the Clock Tower. It's pretty mild IPA.
Uh-oh.
It's pretty mild IPA, but also like I said, it's not for everybody, and it may not be.
For an IPA,
It's going to be
it
like
doesn't have that bite that a lot of IPAs have. So it's got a nice hop profile, but it's I'm going to say on the lower edge.
So far, I've noticed you guys don't give a lot of bite. You're more of a nibbler.
Yeah, we're just
Really nibble.
we're really just trying to make easy drinking beers, man.
Yeah.
Like the last beer we're going to end on tonight. Well, was what I started with. Is
I started with my,
is the Downtown Double Brown, and not to have myself, but that's the strongest, ABV and really the hoppiest probably beer that we offer. And it's really not hard. Like I think you'll be surprised that you can drink that. I think if you're a beer drinker, you can come down here and you can get through a pint of any beer on the wall. If you're a Miller Lite drinker, if you really like drinking beer, you can get through a pint. You might not get enough,
Yeah.
but you won't have to throw it away.
no.
I agree. Everything I've ever had here, I could drink at least one of them, right, for sure. And I've been in a lot of places where I've taken a sip and said,
I've had to choke a few down. Not here, but other places. Not locally when we go out of town.
So the first, real quick before we try what's next, the first pale ale I ever tried was a Dale's pale ale.
Sure, yeah.
And it was in this, big white can. The can looked cool. I was
Which
like,
is truly an idiot, but it's truly an IPA.
I was like, oh,
It's
this
just kind of false advertising.
this won't be bad. I took a sip and I ended up pouring my daughter's Sunkiss into it just to not like, and they drank it. Yeah.
Dale's
Yeah.
hoppy. It's got a hoppy profile to it. It's got a little sandpaper. It's got a little sandpaper.
Right
tongue
before
at
we
the
try
end.
this next beer, here's what I don't understand about Dale's Pale Ale, right? That's what's called.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They used to sell that in Walgreens. It was the cheapest beer they had, and now all of a sudden it's called a resurgence and it's expensive.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know if it was ever I'm
Yeah,
a big
cheap,
fan
buddy.
of Oscar Blues, man, and Dale's always been one of my go-tos, actually.
You should try with Sunny Kids.
I've
So
tried it.
good.
I've tried it sometime. It's usually $10, 6-pack at the grocery store, as long as I've been buying it. But it might be, it could have been cheaper.
It's almost like it fell into the PBR category, and all of a sudden became trendy.
Right, yeah. It definitely had a lot of momentum. It came around, it along with some others, they don't really advertise it as an IPA, they advertise it as a pale ale. But it's truly not a pale ale. It's a Chillbilly is a pale ale. And it would be a little on the weaker side of a pale ale if everything is relative to Dale's being a pale ale as well. But it's really an IPA. Yeah, it's really an IPA.
It was tough.
Well, I'm not walking across the street and paying $3 for a Dale Pale Ale. I promise you that.
We won't
All right, now,
All right, the next.
I'm very nervous about this.
Okay, the next beer. Let me give you a little history here.
Okay.
So we wanted to bring out a jalapeno beer, and Darren came up with the recipe, and the only thing we kind of teetered on which direction we should go was, do we keep, this is the Holt Up, Darren Holt, the Holt Up jalapeno. So the only thing we teetered on was, during the brewing process, do we want to keep the seeds in from the jalapenos to make it hot, or do we want to take the seeds out? We went back and forth, and one of the things we kept on going back to, and even though there's a niche, first of all, pepper beer is already a niche market, and then when you add a spice, it's just,
And most of them are hot.
yeah.
I mean, the majority of them are hot.
But you're knocking some people out. Some people that would normally, but here's the thing. There's people, because we decided to take the seeds out. We kept on going back to somewhat of an oxymoron that, do I want to drink a cold, spicy beer?
Which we do enjoy. Me and Joe, we'll put hot sauce in the beer sometimes. I mean, we can enjoy spicy beer.
Here's the fun. I was gonna say,
Do people drink hot, spicy beers? Like, are they heated up?
Oh,
no,
yeah.
okay,
okay.
spicy hot.
You're just saying spicy.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay, I can change. When you said we like cold hot beer, I was like, wait a minute. We're drinking like bold.
That's
I
why
didn't say hot,
that's why they call it the
it says
microwave.
spicy.
They set beers in the microwave. Yeah.
That's for the hot side.
But yeah, so I think
Okay.
so we think that we thought that pepper beers, for the majority of people, be one and done. They have one pepper beer and they can switch to something else. But because we decided to not make it a really spicy, take all the seeds and veins out of the jalapenos, there are people that love this beer. The people that love it, it's almost like we've run out of it before, and there are people who know where I live. there's been death threats from people.
There's been some deep disappointments.
So it's definitely not a huge, it's not even probably, not in the top 5, but probably 6, 7. Something.
Yeah. No, like again, it's a niche
We
beer.
let the people
But the
like it
people who
really
like it, they come
They
here.
like it.
So
They'll drink it all night. They'll drink it all night.
My middle son, this is his go-to plus. That I've never tasted.
Okay, so I want you to smell it first.
Oh, he's been.
I've been smelling. And it smells just like jalapenos,
Okay.
which I do not eat.
Okay, but you don't eat them because they're spicy, right?
Right.
Okay.
What about
So
green peppers? You like green peppers?
No.
Oh, well, you know.
this might be
Okay, name some more stuff.
Kevin.
So
I
I
see
can say
Kevin across the street, and he's not walking over here.
everything you name the spot, I'm like, no.
Okay,
This might be what Kevin let me give him a piggyback across the
it's
All right, here we go.
water. Let that sit in your tongue for a little bit.
So here's what I was thinking earlier when you guys said the hot sauce. I was thinking to myself, if the people who want it hotter, could you add a dash of Louisiana or Tabasco into this and give them a little something extra that they
You're
could
behind the
miss?
that time.
You can, yeah. And I have had instances, because we make this pretty regular, I usually, Joe regularly picks up jalapenos, and we normally have them on hand, because, if I'm not doing it today, it'll be one day this week. So I have on a couple occasions when it wasn't busy, folks, can't do this on Friday night when the band's playing.
Yeah, don't ask.
But, you know, if somebody's here in the afternoon, they're like, ooh, I love that pepper beer, but I wish it was a little hotter. There have been occasions I'll grab a jalapeno and just coin it up and throw something in their beer, which obviously heats it up a good bit.
Kevin's over there.
You catch us-
wincing in pain.
I'm just,
It's a different type of thing.
I'm gonna be super honest though. I would not come in here and drink that beer. But it was better than I thought it was gonna be. It's not hot. It's just, but it has that flavor.
Yeah.
I don't like that flavor, that jalapeno flavor. But as far as the beer goes, like if somebody was to buy me one hand, I would drink it. I mean, But yeah, I wouldn't sit and drink them, but it's actually not that bad.
Works well as a marinade as well, folks. Works well as a marinade. Chicken.
That's a really
Absolutely.
You know, I would have never thought about that.
You know, there's some people come in here, they go, oh my gosh, this is the perfect burger beer.
I think it
Sit
pairs
down.
well with burgers, tacos, things like that.
And I can see that. I don't do like if I eat a cheesesteak, I don't have peppers and onions on it. Like I just don't.
Oh,
I like
okay.
peppers.
Okay.
I just do cheese and steak. Just cheese
Take
and
the
steak.
headphones off. Just walk away
Just
slowly.
cheese and steak.
You're about to learn a whole lot about this man's.
I'm a plain eating type guy.
Okay.
But that's
Me and Joe just go down a bunch of hot.
yeah. See, I would never.
Minutes ago.
Yeah, they were over here hot. I walked by and smelled them. And I was like, oh my god, I would never eat those. I don't eat a hot. No, I've never had a hot wing.
Now, I love hot wings.
So we can make this like hot wings. You could have a hot wing right now. You can make
Dip
this
it
part of
in
the show.
that.
There you go.
We have sunrise.
So for everybody who, I keep going back to this because we are talking about craft beers. We're talking about Grey Buffalo Brewing. I am the guy that drinks Miller Lite and Michelob Ultras in breweries. So I'm going to keep telling you, we're still, how many are we in? 5 in now?
5 in.
Yep.
I've not had one yet that I would just not drink.
You know what, honestly, and I could totally be wrong on this, but this has like one of those smooth bases, that beer.
Yes.
But you feel not the heat, but you
Just
taste it.
taste it at the
You can
very
taste
end.
it.
It's an after breath almost.
You know what it
Like when
reminds
you
me
take a
of?
drink and you breathe out of your nose.
Yeah.
How you kind of should be trying these beers is giving it that. That's, you know, the correct way to.
This is literally when I smell
breath
when
of
you
it, so
smell
to
it, you take a drink and then you breathe. It reminds me of the jalapeno chips served at Jersey Mike's.
Oh, cool.
Cool.
So-
Never had it.
What? Every now and then.
Why would I
really
really
branch
branch
out?
out? Taste?
Branch
I mean,
No.
Well, when I'm serving
Everybody
this beer to
loves
people
this
that have ever had it, I say, you know, smell it, you're gonna smell jalapeno.
Yeah.
You're gonna taste it, you're gonna taste jalapeno. And when you swallow it, you're gonna expect some heat. But it's never comes.
Yeah, it's definitely not. It's not hot. It was, to be honest with you, I actually might order one. Just kind of pique my interest.
That's what I'm telling you.
Because it's really, it's pretty good.
From your house.
You could get a can and go and eat it with a cheeseburger.
And if you want to, you know,
Just
we
to
do
be on the wild side one night.
Just branch out. My cheeseburger that only has ketchup on it. Not
That's it.
Is it well done too, Kevin? You're making just
It doesn't have to be well done. But I don't want anything other than ketchup. And last thing I
When I eat a burger, I want to see the hoof.
I can do something, but
All right, gentlemen, let's dive right into the next
Yeah.
blueberry seltzer.
Yeah, we are gonna,
Breathe.
we're gonna cleanse your palate here. And before we go into the darker beers.
this is our first seltzer.
Yeah, we wanted to experiment with the seltzer because it's becoming more popular. And first time we tried it, it didn't work out. It never went out on the tap. Then we tried again, and man, was it good.
I've
So
heard
many
a,
people try it and they really like it.
I've heard a lot of good things about this. I've not tried it.
I have not tried this. But real quick, would you walk across the street for the jalapeno?
To be honest with you,
It's okay, Kevin. It's okay. We got this.
I would. I would.
You would.
Look, I would.
Yeah.
I would.
I'd walk across the street.
Yeah.
Would you?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Like if it was the last beer on earth, yeah, I'd
All
walk
right,
across the
all right.
street.
No, I still would.
Yeah, I still would.
You see, this is the problem with walk across the street. I tried to talk to Brandon. I was like, "Is there not like a walk, run across the street, meet halfway?" He was like, "No, it's either you go or you don't." So it's really hard. So I'm not going to say I
Run
would.
her out, man.
I'm not going to say I would not walk across the street because I would.
It's like when you walk halfway across the street and get tired, so you go back.
Yeah, or somebody meet you halfway and hand.
It's like when I told my wife, like, hey, let's cut the shit. I got enough friends, so I'm not here to be friends. Either we're in or we're out.
Right. Yeah.
Every episode, Brandon says something I have to remind myself we have to edit out later.
It's a great walk across the street twice.
We've had that.
Walk there
That's what we do. That's so
like 2 snaps and whatever, right?
C
In the Z formation.
All right.
Okay,
Seltzer.
seltzer.
Cheers, ladies.
So I
The
got
carbonation's low carb.
Which is by design, because I feel like the seltzers are too carbonated.
So I have to ask you guys.
Agreed. This. Go ahead, Brandon.
Do you guys feel like the seltzers are a fad, or do you think they're here to stay?
They're here to stay.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Calories.
Damn it, Bobby.
There's devil calories.
You know, I
I got
gotta be
people
honest.
running in all kinds of circles
My
now.
wife loves the seltzers. And by the way, this is very good. I'm just gonna be honest. But I just cannot bring myself to drink more than a couple of them.
It's the only one I can drink.
Even if I'm just like I'm out of Miller Lights.
Well, the commercial ones, to me,
Yeah.
I can't drink.
I don't.
They're too carbonated.
I've tried every.
And the flavor I get after I drink it, I get a chemical feeling in my
I
mouth.
don't think the flavor's really
I get
like
that.
if it says
It's not.
watermelon.
Yeah, it's
it's,
not.
not really watermelon.
So my wife drinks. She used to drink White Claws. She now drinks.
Truly.
No, I'm sorry.
Bud Light.
She started with Trulies. She went to White Claw. Now she does the Bud
Bud
Light.
Light seltzers.
I have tasted like she'll be like, "Oh, this black cherry," and I'm like, I hate it. I hate all of them. This, as soon as I taste it, I fully expected to hate this, and this is very good.
It's very good.
It's the only one that I've found that I like, and
It's
I've had
very good.
I was telling Joe this a couple weeks ago. I had some people over one night. They left a variety pack of Trulies at my house. And I called them. I was like, "Yeah, you left your Trulies," and they were like, "Well, just drink them,
Just
throw them away,
keep
whatever."
that
we don't
$12
want."
for
Yeah.
3 years.
I'll throw them away.
And so I was looking at it, I was like, well, we're either going to drink them or we're going to toss them. So I was like, well, let me just try one. I've never had one. And so I grabbed one and I was like, well, let's try this one.
It's just like drinking club soda.
I tried every one in the box. I didn't like any of them, and I threw them away. I just didn't like them. Now, like I said, nothing's for everybody. Seltzers mostly are not for me. This one's not bad.
That seltzer is really good. That seltzer tastes like the White District Kool-Aid to me. I love it.
I don't even know. Is that on Scooby-Doo?
No, it's the Kool-Aid that you never know the flavor of it. That seltzer tastes like Kool-Aid. It's so good.
So I'm telling you right now,
Bring on the
that
seltzers.
right there has just enough carbonation to make it a seltzer,
Mhm.
but it's a nibble.
Do you like seltzer water? Do you like carbonated water? Because I don't.
I don't.
And I think that's what throws me off.
Every now and then, I actually used to like carbonated water, and because I used to like carbonated water with vodka and lime. So instead of getting club soda
Right.
or tonic, because there's so much sugar in tonic.
You saw that on like a movie or something. Like some big wig walked in and ordered that, and you were like, I'm gonna start drinking this shit. Yeah.
I'll tell you why.
Go ahead and tell me what show it was.
I'll tell you after. It's
So I am right.
no, you're not right. Not even close.
Boy, this round's gonna be tough, boys.
It's like
There's
a
a-
bash thing.
There was a lot of nights at the Atlantis where I was like, you know what, something is just,
Should I
you know,
edit this?
no. But anyway, so but that right there is almost, I don't want to say like a flavored water,
But that is
but
what it
it's-
tastes like.
but
It's good.
but it's dangerously good. So I can see a lot of people coming in true Red Buffalo fashion, ordering way too many of those and being
Right.
carried on.
Well, we did try to keep the ABV down on that one because it's such a
No,
it's such
but
an easy
so-
drinker. I mean,
No, and that's
that
probably
would
like
be
a
refreshing.
47 ABV.
Like,
yeah, I mean, it is.
did you guys have that during the summer? Of course, this
We
is
did.
an all
We did.
year
We
business.
had it this summer. Kind of towards the end of the summer, we brought it back even stronger. But
It
it
really
did
was.
well. It did well.
It's good.
It's starting to slow down a little bit now, understandably. It's November.
Sure.
Which is another funny thing. Last year, as we headed into winter, Joe and I were talking, and he was telling me, we got to switch to more stouts. We got to do this. We got to get this. And I was like, I don't change what I drink in the winter.
Yeah,
No,
I
I'm not one of
You
those.
probably don't, but you know what? He was right.
You're
I
saying
had to eat a little bit of the crow on that
Yeah.
one because we watched the numbers. And people do change what they drink in the winter.
Probably. Do me a favor.
I don't.
I don't.
Yeah.
Can you just check to make sure we're still recording?
Yeah, I looked at it. We are. Yeah, we're good. Yeah,
Can we go back to the night at Atlanta? I just want to hear more. Is there any chance we can get any more details about that night at Atlanta?
I wish I had good details to share, but unfortunately it was all professional, no fun. But
I get it.
so I wanted to throw this out. We were talking about when we were drinking jalapeno. It is called the Holt Up Jalapeno.
Correct.
And for those that don't know out there, Darren has a band called Holt Up, and his daughter is the lead singer.
Yes.
And plays guitar, and they are super talented. Your daughter is very talented.
Yeah.
And you are as well. So if you guys have never seen Holt Up, you should definitely come out and watch them. They play all over Statesville.
All over town.
Yeah.
I want you can check us out on social medias, folks. We love there.
Yeah.
She finds us on Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. I will stay at this venue.
Yeah.
With our upcoming shows, and say that we do have one coming up for right at Christmas for the we'll have the Ugly Sweater competition again. We always usually play that, and then right on the heels of that, we're doing a show here with our good friend Josh Perryman from New York.
Oh yeah, and Josh Perryman is awesome too.
He's one of my best friends, man. And if you've not seen Josh freaking insisted about us what to do. We did this last year for New Year's. And we kind of played an hour. He played an hour, we did an hour together. He wants to do the whole hour together this time.
Yeah.
And I like that, but with Josh, I just say he's one of the best friends. I love him. Also one of the hardest people I've ever played with. Because you never know what's coming. Yeah. He's like trying to play with Jimi Hendrix. It's like if you ever watch any of that old footage, the band never knew what Jimmy was, like what's going next. That's how Josh is.
I love how he does the looping pedal and all
the best.
So real quick while Joe's getting settled, me and my wife went to Banner Ale. It's been a year and a half ago. And we were just going to grab lunch, and we walked in, and I saw the sign that said, live music today, Josh Perry. And it started at 2 or whatever, so I was like, we need to stay. I was like, this is the guy that plays around States or whatever. And I hadn't met him yet. And he come in, and I recognized him, and I introduced myself, and he was like, oh, I know who you are just from being around. We started talking. Well, that was the first time I saw him play. We stayed for hours watching him play. It was so good. He's very
entertaining. Yeah.
So yeah, Josh Perryman, thanks for your sponsorship and listening.
Yeah.
I like to make up.
Also from a little town in New York.
Oh, he is. Okay. Is he really? I like to make up sponsors. So Josh Perryman, thanks for your sponsorship.
That's right.
And we went into that talking about Holt Up. So yes, check Josh Perryman and Holt Up.
Yeah, be here for New Year's, folks.
New Year's Eve. Come out New Year's.
It'll be a blast, I promise you. We're going to have a lot of fun. We need you to come here ready to have some fun, too.
Yeah.
All right, guys, so we're going on to our third flight here of the Big Buffalo Beers.
This is going to be a tough round for me, Fred.
Here's the thing, everyone. They were walking across the street a lot.
So far. Y'all might have to come meet me on the other side.
Yeah. We're going to throw the rope and hopefully drag you over.
But here we are. We're 6 deep, and still, there's not one that I would tell people not to order. Nope. So far. Here comes number 7.
All right.
Okay, so this is the Funkin' Pumpkin. And we usually serve this with the option of a honey glazed rim with sugar and cinnamon. And I didn't do that.
We didn't get that tonight.
The ladies weren't here. We usually don't do the rims.
Yeah.
we don't do the rims when it's just guys. We do the rims.
So this is in the category of an amber ale.
An amber ale. Okay.
So give it a smell.
All right, here we go. Cheers. That's better than I thought. Because I don't like pumpkin, and I was afraid it's going to taste a lot like that.
Yeah, it's just a hair taste,
it's a
slight taste.
Back to the nibble.
Not the nibble.
I will say that we try to if it's pumpkin or blueberry or jalapeno or whatever, it is in the name of the beer or the description of the beer. We try to make sure that there's something there. Because I've certainly been to many breweries and had a strawberry something another session that didn't taste at all strawberry to me at all. So we try to put a little bit in there, man, but we didn't want this pumpkin to be too overpowering, especially when it's served with that. Actually, the pumpkin comes out more with the rim.
Yes, it does. I was going to say that because I've had it. This one I've had before. And I would walk across the street for it. Which,
I
by the
would
way,
too. I'm still in.
I would
Still in?
Yeah,
Seven deep?
I'm still in.
I would have ran
I
across
see
the
you're
street.
finishing so fast, but you're beating all of us. I'm glad you're beating all of us now.
Oh, I'd run across the street for that seltzer too. That
Bingo.
seltzer was good.
It was very good. Hey, so I'm gonna change things up a little bit here. The pumpkin bucket is good. I do agree with you guys that the rim, the sugar, brings out that pumpkin taste. But I want to ask you guys something, Joe and Derek. What is your favorite drink or cocktail? Like if you're at home and you're gonna have a beer or if you're gonna have a cocktail, Joe, what did you make for yourself? What's your go-to?
Woodford Reserve bourbon, 2 scoops.
Love Woodford Reserve.
Woodford is good.
Good call, my friend.
And you know what?
I like the excitement.
If I have to, okay, but it's just so good.
It is good. It's
why lose all that Woodford?
That's right.
To that
cook.
Exactly.
So yeah,
That's a good
I'm
thing.
a 2 cubes guy too.
2 cubes. I'm going to get you guys, I know what to get you now. I'm going to get you something I invested in a while back. It's the big cube. You know about the big
Oh,
cube?
yeah.
we
Yeah,
got
that's
that.
it.
You get the big round cubes.
Yeah.
They got these little plastic trays that you can make them.
Oh yeah. When Kevin comes and we have a
There's some pick up because his hands.
I thought I was gonna say, you know those big
West
things
over
called
here.
balls? You should try them.
I
Give
have
us that.
I have skull ice.
Oh, okay.
And Brandon has the big balls at his house.
When we're having
Yeah, I heard that.
impromptu
I heard that.
citrus
Down.
and flicks. But now, so Darren, what's your go-to?
I'm a bourbon guy as well, so my absolute choice is probably a little different. Woodford is a great bourbon. There's many out there. For some reason, I favor Buffalo Trace.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. If you can find it, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I kind of try to stay on the list. And,
There you go.
I got 2 bottles at my house.
see, I mean, you can get it, but it takes. It's not. You're not going to just walk in and get it. It takes a little work.
It's who you know.
It's who you know.
It's who you know.
It's who you know.
I got some in Charlotte.
And I would say that along with that, there are a couple other ones that are getting bottled at Buffalo Trace that are great. You can find them as well. Rare Eagle is a great one, and
Eagle Rare.
Old Whaler.
Yeah, well, Weller.
So that's
Had
what
that
I'm
one.
try.
It's got the green label on it.
Right.
Right?
There's 2 versions. There's a maybe it does have the green label, but it's a 104.
So,
Or maybe it's 107.
have you by any chance had Benchmark?
Yes, I have. It's good.
It's $10, and I think it's great.
Yeah, it's good. It's
I
good.
think it's great, and it's made at Buffalo
Well,
Trace.
we're all bourbon drinkers, then, right?
Yes.
Well,
we're learning.
Maybe we know what the next show is.
Can I throw a question out
You can.
to the panel here? What's the best $20 bottle of
Oh man. Well, I mean, for $20, 20 and less is benchmark for me.
Benchmark?
I would be like, yeah, I like Benchmark a lot, actually. I keep Benchmark at my house. There's an Elijah Craig that's right around the $20. It's not
Well,
bad,
it's like
too.
24.
Yeah.
It is. And it is. Elijah Craig's good. Elijah Craig's good. I just recently bought a small batch. But it was a little hairy. It was with one other something too, and it was got a little. I'll tell you. I like the Four Roses. Just the.
You like
Oh, yeah.
it?
I like
to
that.
talk about Four
I like
Roses.
that.
I've never had it. Never had it.
I'll be honest. I've had it. I was slightly disappointed.
Really.
I think people had set it up so much
Ah,
that
yeah,
when
yeah.
I went to go get it,
But
I
run of the
was
meal, like
disappointed.
what everybody's heard of, Jim
Yeah.
Beam. I think Jim Beam to me is better than Jack Daniels.
I like when we were going $20. The only reason I didn't say Jim Beam is it's not $20.
It's nice. Little oak, right?
Right.
That
But-
double oak or the black is very good, and they usually run a sale where it's like $24.
Gotcha.
But do you know the first Sips, Riffs, and Flix we did where we actually tasted a bourbon and we did Jefferson's Ocean, which was like $90 a bottle? And
Yeah.
it's awful.
I wouldn't walk across the street. For it.
Terrible.
I don't
Really?
care. I don't care if it was
I've
on
had-
Mayflower.
I had a
I don't give a
Jefferson.
shit.
I had a couple
I am
Jefferson
fine.
that were okay, but I've done that one.
I'll drink that damn seltzer.
I have some left. I'll bring
The
it to you.
Henry, it's green label as well. They usually have it behind the counter. There's a Henry
McAllister.
There's a McKellen's or something like that.
something like that. The Henry something. I thought it was delicious too.
What do we have next?
Okay,
so
so-
moving on, but yes, go ahead, Joe.
moving on to these are our stouts. We have a chocolate and a coconut. What I'm going to suggest is we don't drink all of it.
Okay, don't drink all
All
that.
right, I want you to drink half of it and drink. We'll go to the next coconut. The chocolates first, then the coconut, and then I'm going to ask you to mix.
All right, so which one do we have
Our
first?
first one that should be your coke, but that's the chocolate.
Chocolate stout.
It does smell like chocolate.
Either Val's chocolate.
Vale's chocolate.
Which also
might
has
be-
a great sign The
Vale's
Science Sour.
chocolate stout. So here's to Val.
Hey, Valerie.
Love you. Cheers, Val.
As much as I do.
100%.
So you can taste that chocolate. There's no
There's
getting
no
away from
That is definitely chocolate.
And it's delicious. This I have had before,
it's a dessert.
and I like it.
I have not, and I'm still going. I would drink that
You
one
walk
too.
across the street?
I would drink that one too.
I am shocked.
I would drink that one too.
impressed.
We're getting
That's good,
we're getting
man.
you out of your box, buddy. We're getting you out of your wheelhouse.
Now here's the thing. This is the kind of beer you don't drink as quickly as raw mouth
It's
wine.
sip on.
You sip on
Yeah,
it.
when you're looking to pace yourself,
That's
throw one of these in the mix.
And I'll tell you, the
Standing
last beer
outside.
we're going to try, this is the beer we're going to be talking
And when you're standing outside, that's your winter. That's your winter kind of sip.
So I think what I'm picking up on all these different beers we're drinking is nothing is overpowering. Yes, it's a stout. Yes, there's chocolate, but it's a nice undertone. Nothing is overpowering. You guys nibble on everything.
And
I
it's
think
smooth.
It's all
It is.
about. And
very
I
smooth.
think people that aren't, or they're afraid of dark beers, they're afraid of stouts. They look at dark and they think strong. Oh,
Yep.
it's not strong.
It's not. It's easy drinking.
Yeah, this is 5.5%. This is not a
Yeah,
killer.
no, I've actually talked to a lot of ladies into trying, and they will say they don't like stouts. And I will talk to them into just trying to taste the chocolate stout, and they usually will rule.
I'm with you. Everything's subtle. It's smooth. It's
Subtle is the key.
I feel like Red Buffalo beers are made for drinkers, not tasters. It's made for people to drink.
There you go.
We're trying to sell beer, guys.
Yeah, there we
we're
go.
easy drinkers.
I mean,
Because
people
you'll
can go,
buy more.
yeah, people can go in and order let me get the hot beer, something, but wow.
Well, yeah. I have been buying here lately because Food Lion's having a nice sale. You can buy 2 Guinness for $5.
Oh,
The big tall boys.
Mhm.
So I have been buying the extra stout Guinness
I
for
would-
$2.50 a can.
I wouldn't walk
That's
across the street to your house if your Guinness was sitting in your driveway for free.
But
I appreciate it, Guinness.
yes, I used to never would, but I don't know what's happened.
I've had my share of them with an Irish cardinal.
Oh, yeah. Hey, man. Hey, talk.
I think it's the chocolate stouts have primed me to
could be.
venture out. If I
I've
had
done
to.
some Irish car bombs in my life, and I think that might be why I don't like it. Maybe. I'm not
You know
sure.
what? I have not had Irish cardinal. I think maybe since we were 20.
I'm free tomorrow. I'll check the calendar, but I'm free tomorrow.
We're doing them on the show. Okay, that'll be our last show.
All right, so we're on
I don't know if I'm
coconut.
available.
Okay, so we got a little chocolate left. All right, let's go
We're
with
going to get the
coconut.
coconut for a half taster.
Give it a smell. Give it a smell.
I can definitely
can't
smell
smell
coconut.
I can't.
I can't.
You'll taste it.
And for the record, I do not like coconut.
I hate coconut.
I don't like coconut flavor.
Oh, I love it.
I
I
hate
love
coconut.
coconut.
But that's actually nice. You know what it reminds me of? Tannin lotion.
You feel like you're on the beach, but you're tasting it instead of smelling.
You know, we had well, for our past two, the first anniversary and the second, we had pina colada beers. This one, last one, we had a pina colada IPA.
Delicious.
I thought it was delicious. And I told Joe, I was like, it tastes like ladies lying in the sun.
Which is one of my favorite.
What a great
flavors,
t-shirt.
by
What
the
a
way.
great t-shirt. That's a great t-shirt.
That's a great
Something we need to talk about.
So, what are those candy bars that are chocolate on the outside?
Almond
We
joys.
call this a liquid mounds.
That is a mound. That
This
is
is
a
a
mound.
amount. We call this our
tap mix.
That is
So
what
it-
it tastes like.
we will tap mix. And a lot of people, they come in and say, give me the liquid mounds or give me the chocolate and a coconut combination, whatever.
That's exactly.
And that's what we're going to drink now.
So that's what we're going to do next.
So I want you to think of a mounds bar.
So, and it smells so good
So
mixed
Kevin, would
together.
you walk across the street for the coconut?
I would.
Yeah.
I would.
All right, here we go. Here goes mounds.
It's the best of all of both worlds, in my opinion.
Now that is surprisingly so good.
That is a nice dessert.
The next time I come in here, I want a half and half. I want what I'm gonna call it.
Liquid mounds.
Liquid mounds. Half and half.
Almond
Maybe a
joys
little
have
more
nuts.
chocolate.
Yeah, sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't.
I want 3/4 chocolate, quarter coconut.
That's
And I
exactly how we
want
normally make them.
Well, you know, some people want it just the opposite.
more coconut.
Because the chocolate's a little overpowering sometimes. True. So people get 25% on the
That is
chocolate
so
and
good.
Coke, and
That
it was
is so
75
good.
on Coke.
I just want to know if I can get a 7 8. That's all.
That's so good. Yeah.
That is
Beers
good.
we had so far.
Like 1,000.
I think that's not. That's
We're
what
on number
the
9.
tap mix is 10. The tap mix is kind of
Oh, this.
So the tap
9.5.
mix made
not that.
9.5, and so far, everybody out there that's your basic drinker, come in and order anything, you can't go wrong so far.
Here's the nice part about it. There's such a nice variety of the menu. You know, we've had now like a dessert kind of beer. We've had some spicy beer. We've had, you know, your Miller Lite, Bud Light types of beers. The one thing I haven't ran into is any of the hoppiness that I can.
Me neither.
That's the next round.
Here it
No,
comes.
no,
Here it
no.
comes.
Here we go.
We wanted to lube y'all up a little bit. With this
Oh,
We're lubed and primed up.
I mean, yeah, we're basically at the point now of you drink, I'll drink anything.
Ubers can call it correctly.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
have,
we're
we
good.
have a round.
Yep.
I'll be right back. Uh-oh.
So, Darren, let me ask you a
Yes.
question. Who's your favorite band of all time?
wow.
That's so weird. I was gonna ask that too.
Ooh, man. I can't.
Like without thinking. Just
I
number
mean,
one.
I couldn't say in all time. I could because everything's kind of in a moment to me. I get into something, I get into something for a little while, and then I get away from it. I get into something else for a while. Right now, today,
Gotta make a decision.
man, I've been really back into my Led Zeppelin
There you go.
roots here lately.
All right. I
If
like it.
If I had to throw just a few out there of all time,
Yeah.
Led Zeppelin, Jimi Hendrix.
So you're the old rock guy.
Yes, yeah,
Or
man, that's
also
on
known
the
as
house.
the greatest.
Yeah,
So let me ask you this.
sure.
Who is the most overrated band in your opinion of all time?
Oh wow. Golly, that's a tough one.
Why-
Well, you got an answer for that one?
While you're thinking about that, you know who I wouldn't walk across the street to hear play? Coldplay. Wouldn't walk
Yeah.
across.
Oh, I wouldn't. Cheers to you,
Yeah.
Kevin.
Those places, yeah.
I wouldn't shit on them. I mean, I wouldn't.
Oh, here we go. Brandon's cussing. Now we've lost all our kid viewers.
Oh, they're in the best. See, guys, I wouldn't. Coldplay. Stop whining.
So Darren, we have recently done a couple shows on. We just did a Rage Against the Machine show.
I love
That
that.
was
I
one
got
of our
to watch that.
favorite. It's one of our favorite bands.
Definitely great band.
We talked about
Van Halen.
We did a Van
You
Halen.
had to.
You had to. I'm Van Halen, not Van Hagar as much.
We had that same stuff.
You need to watch that show.
Yeah, we did a Van Halen, but we were randomly like, let's do one about a band, and both of us were like Rage Against the Machine.
Yes.
So we went through our
Great
favorite
choice.
song, and then we went through our
What was your
least
favorite song?
So we went through our least favorite. We did most.
Oh man.
So my favorite is Freedom.
Freedom's great.
It's my all-time favorite. I have a lot of close ones, but that's my all.
Man, that band is somebody that speaks to. You gotta open your heart and your ears to it, because a lot of people, if it's not your genre of music, aren't going to connect to it.
Right.
But that band is probably the political band of our time.
Yeah. Well, in 1992, still applied to 2002 to
Yeah.
2012.
Absolutely.
To name it.
And right before we do this beer, here's what I said about it. If you played it today for a teenager that's never heard this band, and you're like, check this new band out,
Right.
and you hand it to them,
Sure.
I think they would be like, oh my God, have you guys heard this new band?
Right.
They still sound so fresh and new, and it relates to today.
Well, I think a lot of Zach De La Rocha, the whole everybody, man. I mean, and Tom Morello, man. I mean, is become an icon.
He has.
I mean, he's probably the guitar player of our time as well. But Zach comes across with a passion because it's political and because it's driven by his experiences. He's writing these songs about how he's been treated wrong. You know what I mean?
Right.
The passion that comes across just speaks volumes to
It
people.
does.
It's hard to
Crazy.
not get emotionally involved in those songs.
Agreed.
It crosses the line. For sure.
Absolutely does.
Let's make music great again.
Shout at Red Buffalo.
Y'all are trying to Red Buffalo.
At the Red Buffalo Studio.
We'll talk about it.
That's
another
it's November
t-shirt.
2020 and one, just in case you're watching this.
Another T-shirt, Red Buffalo. Make it music.
Mama.
Make music great again.
All right, guys. So
Oh,
we're
man,
gonna-
great. We're moving on.
So
and
this one
we're turning
seems
the
live,
corner.
though.
We're turning the
Oh,
corner.
it looks like. Yeah, it is.
We're
It is a
turning the
library.
corner.
So that's going to be the clock tower.
You guys, I know, are a little afraid here in this round. Last round, by the way. This is our IPA selection. And
I'm gonna take my hat off.
We're going to start off with the Clock Tower IPA, named after our clock tower in downtown Statesville, built in 1892, just in case.
Yeah.
Everyone wants
I
to
did
do a
know
little research.
I did know that actually.
So this is a 6.6 ABV. The hop profile here, I would say, is I am not a IPA drinker.
Neither am I.
None of these are very hot. As an IPA drinker, I'm
But this beer to me,
sitting here.
being a non-IPA hop lover, this beer, the hops come out the most.
Okay. So ABV wise, are we still going up, or is this the highest one?
This is actually 6.6.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then we're gonna go to the Firehouse Red IPA, which is 6.
Okay.
And then we'll talk about the last.
This one's like a
And
7.
we kind of stated the lighter to darker. The lighter to darker pattern here, so the ABV does drop a little on that one. But listen, I consider this a summertime.
This is
IPA.
this is Darren's go-to.
This is.
This is my go-to.
Clock
Well,
Tower.
When
This is Darren's PBR, right?
yeah, that's my PBR.
Do y'all
I
have
like
some
the General Brown. It's
kids
probably my
around?
favorite beer.
Now we do know at this point in the juncture that they will probably be across the street.
Yeah.
You know, we won't be able to bring them.
Honestly, at first sniff,
But-
it's kind of like a fart.
Yeah, that's just optional.
No, wait. Before you get the opinion,
Of course, I'm kind of gassy from those wings.
I want you to just put your nose on that and tell me if you get a little citrus smell out of that. Citrus
It's in
smell.
there.
It's got a nice citrus finish.
I
Actually.
do.
This is a mild summertime IPA, guys.
It doesn't have the citrus that the Sunset Ale had.
Mark keeps sniffing.
You're gonna see some kids.
Mark keeps sniffing. Is there weed?
You know, there's
hops kind of.
All right, here we go.
Which I don't
Okay,
know.
ready?
Of course, there's not any weed in there.
So nervous. Definitely tastes like a pale ale. Definitely tastes like a pale ale. But I'll say this. I've had a lot worse. I'm not lying. And I'm not saying it's bad. I've had a lot worse.
It truly is a fairly mild IPA, in with everything being relevant in the IPA world. But like I said, no beers for everybody, and IPAs are certainly not for everybody.
All right, so this is the first one. We're on number.
Someone shit my mouth right in the back. It's like a tang to it. They had
There's
bad
cat
lunch.
around here.
And
So I wasn't gonna go that crazy with it, but we're on number. What are we on? 10.5 or something.
at this point,
This one, I think I will say this: for an IPA, it definitely feels lighter than others I've had, but I probably wouldn't.
We understand.
I'm gonna
That's why we
finish it.
have, that's why we have
That's not what I
seven.
want
That's
to.
why we have 7 other ones.
Oh, and all the other ones
8,
being great.
9 other ones, I guess. 8
Honestly, at this point, you know what I feel like Mike Tyson gave a great quote. He said, "Everybody got a plan until you get punched in the face." And I feel like right now, I've been punched in my face.
That was pretty good. That was a good actual. Oh man, I'm hot.
Well, let's talk about drinking and ball sweat.
All right, Brandon's being a little bit. You're getting a little too rough about it. It's not that bad. It's not.
Well,
If you're-
my palate's different, kid.
If you're not an IPA drinker,
And I am not an IPA.
and I'm not either. I'm not.
True.
No,
True.
but
I am.
in saying that,
It is lighter than other IPAs, for sure.
and the next 2 beers we're gonna have, and I am not an IPA drinker. I don't just like these beers. Okay,
I'm open to the next one.
so we opened up when we opened up 2 years ago.
Oh, time out. Just
Oh,
for
sorry.
clarification, I would not walk across the street.
Yeah. We got
So,
I
so,
mean, we get it.
okay, so here's what I was going to tell Darren, and I actually covered what Mike was going to tell him. So my last sip, because I think I got warmed up to it, the last sip actually went down a lot smoother than the
That is
first
the
one.
change of IPAs. Is that honestly the first, even if you're an IPA drinker, the sip. I mean, it's about halfway through the beers when you really warm up to it. it's kind of like, I'll put it this way, if you started drinking coffee today, you don't want to go to espresso tomorrow. You know what I mean? You want to stay with the coffee.
I don't know.
If you started drinking wine
I
today,
don't drink coffee.
if you started drinking
Never had
wine
a cup.
today, you don't want to start with a cab tomorrow. You know what I mean? The IPA is the espresso or the Cabernet. It's the
I get you.
something that you work up to.
So it was so different than everything else we drank. It hit me square in the face my first for real. But that last sip, you know what I'm gonna say? I walk across the street for that one.
Really?
Because I want to drink I'm gonna order a full one at some point when I come back, and I'm gonna drink the whole thing. Because
I'm trying to get the bottom.
that last sip actually was pretty good.
It's something you do need to warm up to. That was a good way of putting that because I didn't think you mentioned that.
Tastes like chicken.
It tastes like chicken. It tastes a lot like that. With any hoppy beer, you kind of start them and you warm up to them as it comes on. And I started on IPAs because they were just higher ABVs. I didn't think, man, this is the best tasting beer I ever had. But I was, somewhere where the beers were $10 or $12 a piece, and I could either get this, what's the sun? It's always at those places. Anyway,
Easy or I know exactly what you're talking about.
Anyway, so if you're gonna pay a lot for a beer, I want to get, if I'm at a show, a concert, or something like an event, and you're gonna pay $10, $12 for a beer, I want to get the one that's the 8% over the 4 or 5%.
Yeah.
So that led me into IPAs, and then I just grew to like them over time. But it's like anything else, like coffee. It's like a lot of things. You don't get drawn to it because of the taste.
Sure.
Yeah.
You get drawn to it because of the results.
Yeah.
Sure. Nobody drinks bourbon the first time and goes, oh my God, I love it.
Exactly. It's acquired taste. It's acquired taste. Just as beer in general. But this is kind of the next level of that.
You know what I really miss? Going and seeing 311 for like $10 and drinking $1 PB.
Oh, I remember. Yeah.
We went to some of those when I was young.
Yeah.
Just know that those days will never come.
Never come back.
That's for sure.
Never come back.
All right.
So
what's
back
next?
to when we opened up 2 years ago, this was our flagship beer, Red IPA, which is now called the Firehouse Red IPA, which is in collaboration with the Statesville Fire Department. Can you zoom in, cameraman?
Hey, our cameraman's there.
Unfortunately,
Our cameraman's there.
I'm tasting the Firehouse IPA.
The Firehouse IPA shirt. So it's a great kind of a benefit charity that the fire department kind of manages for people that they know in need. And we recently ran a promotion with a shirt and a beer, and you got for a price you got a shirt and beer. And so what we did is we took the Red IPA off the menu for a while and we introduced it and renamed it the Firehouse Red IPA.
Mm-hmm.
So this is that, and it's 6%. This right now is my favorite beer. This is my go-to. And I'm saying that, but fork tongue about the next beer coming up. But this is my kind of go. If I want a beer right now, this is what I'm going for.
Okay.
Similar to the Red Ale.
Similar to the Red Ale with a little bit more of a hot profile.
Yeah, different hot profile. A little different recipe altogether, but
Right, I'm not an IPA guy, but this is my favorite beer. It's a red ale with a little more gusto.
Okay. And if you guys want to learn about the charity that the Firehouse Red IPA was benefiting, that was the most recent episode of Appetite. Josh Smith came on the show and talked about the entire charity and what all was benefiting and all that stuff.
great
So
guy.
as we sip these,
Great cheer.
another cool thing about Red Buffalo and Joe there, just like that charity event they did, y'all year round have something going on. And help a lot of local people, nonprofits. I'm on the board of directors for the Irvine County Partnership. They've had a few things here.
Sure.
So just another, local supporting local people helping out. So that's another reason that I frequent this place because of it's just takes care of each other. And that's across the street. And it is. But But anybody out there that's listening and watching, if you do have some sort of event, come in here and talk to these
Yeah,
guys.
absolutely. We love being a part of the community, obviously, and when we have the opportunity to give back, it's just a huge kudos for us of doing it. So
Here we go.
Here we go.
Red
to that. To that. Cheers.
Red IPA.
Red IPA.
Firehouse Red IPA.
So, Joe and Darren both, I have to ask you guys something.
That one's good.
That's delicious.
That's good.
It's my go-to.
That's
Joe,
good.
favorite movie
Yes,
of all
sir.
time?
Ooh, there's some
I
good ones out
think
there.
it's coming back to you.
I think it depends on if you're looking at comedy or
Just gotta pick one, man.
Favorite author.
You gotta throw it
Gotta
out
throw it
there.
out.
Life depends on it.
Mine's Gladiator.
Gladiator.
See? There you go.
I'm pretty confident about this. I'll give you a few minutes. Thank you.
I mean,
There's a lot. I've got a lot, but I'm probably going with Raising Arizona.
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one.
That's great. Mine's 7.
Oh, seven's good. Yeah, it's good.
Shawshank.
Oh, great.
That's a good one.
Hey, that's good, man. Indeed.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's what Andy said.
Fletch is pretty. You know, I always like talking.
That's it.
Hey.
That was good too.
Oh,
Yeah, that was good.
now, what's the worst movie you've ever seen?
Oh, the one with Jack Black.
School of Rock?
No.
School of Rock's pretty good.
Actually, I've
No,
never seen
it was L something.
Oh, the luchador.
Yes. It's terrible. I go.
it. Not your
I know.
memory.
Yes,
Yes,
my
it's
son.
It's terrible.
At the time, he was about 12 years old. And, yeah, let's go. It's like, yeah, sure. And I, of course, paid for this movie. And you go in there and you want to just, hey, every time I go to a restaurant, every time I try out brewery, I just walk in one to like it. So I go with my son. I'm going for him, but I want to like it. 20 minutes in, I'm like pulling my hair out. And you want to hear a funny story?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Last night, Valerie, she knew I never saw Borat.
Oh,
Yeah.
And I heard it was a fun movie. So last night she goes, hey, I taped it, please. So after football, after my Bills lost. Anyways, so I'm a little depressed. So anyways, I'm watching this movie and I'm ready to like it. I'm ready to laugh.
It's a tough comedy. It's a hard thing.
I took the remote and I looked at her and I can't take it. I can't. I was waiting for it to get funny. It never got funny.
So it's Nacho Libre or Borat?
No, Nacho, I think.
Yeah, it's got to be worse.
It was bad.
Darren, worst movie ever.
Man, you got me thinking Nachos probably pretty bad. That's probably pretty bad. I want to say, I shouldn't say this was the worst movie ever.
Well, just your opinion, man.
I mentioned Fletch earlier. Well, they tried to come back with a Fletch too. That was.
I did not know.
Yeah, sequels should not be included in this. The
Yeah,
sequels,
yeah,
no,
usually, Indiana Jones,
Right.
and Back to the Future are the only sequels.
Man, Back to the Future 2,
Awesome.
classic.
It may have been better. I mean, sequels are never.
Yeah.
That was suck, but that one, well done.
Yeah, I like
What was the one with Ben Affleck and it was a
Gidget. No, he was not Gidget. It was back in the 60s.
What's he talking
It was
about?
a terrible movie.
Yes! No, I saw that movie.
No, you said something about a dirty girl.
No, that was a drama.
Jersey Girl was the real one. Gigi.
Yeah, was that it?
Yeah, when it was dating Jennifer Lopez.
Never
There's
seen
those two things together. I think there's like these 2 movies.
Yeah, maybe that was a sequel too, but I remember that being a terrible.
Man, but Ben Affleck, Good Will Hunting is
Oh, yeah, that
so
was
classic. So classic.
Porky's. It was a great movie.
All those.
Classic.
Oh, Porky!
Animal House. Classic.
DJ here.
You know what movie I hate? Titanic.
Yeah, I don't like it either. It was great.
Yeah.
It was.
I can almost hate on all the Hunger Games and Harry Potter's, even though
Never
they're
seen
great
them.
movies.
Never seen Harry Potter.
But my daughter made me watch it 1,000 times. Yeah. I mean, it was,
I got something to tell on this next beer.
So, Joe, you did not grow up in Statesville.
I did not, sir.
Have you ever seen what is the movie? It's about the Amish community. and it was filmed here in Statesville.
It's not the Ryan White story.
No, the Ryan White story was filmed here too.
Yeah, hang on.
But there's the one. It's something about a stone. Leathernecks was here too. Brandon was in that movie. Brandon was in that movie. I guess I should watch
several.
I've never seen it either.
If you ever watch Leatherheads, and
I saw 10 minutes.
when they if you fast forward, and when they're in the Vance Hotel running around, and they're like jumping out, and the firemen are down there catching them when they're jumping out the window, which is supposed to be this is third floor of the Vance.
Those 10 minutes I didn't see.
No,
I've
this
never
is
seen
deep in the movie. Spent 9 days filming. Anyway,
And how much did you make? Like $20 a day or
I
something?
have all of my
Checks they gave you?
I do the check stubs. Yeah, because one day I'll show you.
Now there was one that was called like something about a rock or a stone or something.
There is
It was,
the stoning of something.
yeah, the stoning in something county.
Yes,
It was
that
filmed
one,
here.
yes.
We'll have to give Joe copies of all these movies from States. But I'm glad you moved to States.
Oh my God!
And you've
glad-
become a very
I'm
big
glad-
part of States.
I love being here. Happy. This is happiness.
Yeah.
This community.
we appreciate it.
And sometimes things just click. You can't put it into words.
Yeah.
And
So let me
met my fiance.
Yeah.
And met Darren.
Yeah.
I mean, we all seen
And you know, you really did. I feel like quickly became part of States,
You just
which is not
He
easy
jumped
to
in.
do.
He jumped into many leadership roles.
Agreed.
Serves on many committees here.
It's not easy
Chairs,
to break
at
into
least
one small town.
That's not the whys behind that.
I'm not gonna say why.
Okay.
But you've done a fantastic job to become part of
Thank
States.
you.
And we
I
welcome
love being a part of it. And thank you very much.
I think one of the
Love being
nice
here.
things too about we talked about earlier about Red Buffalo is it's a very family. Well, it is a family type atmosphere, but people know your name. They're easy beers to drink, but it's a place you walk into, and it's warm and it's inviting. The atmosphere you walk in, you look around, there's things that catch your eye. It is eclectic, but it's also one of those things that it's not cold and modern because a lot of modern things can be cold.
Yeah.
But the
There's not many clean lines here.
no, which I think
Matching
people,
chairs.
No matching chairs.
but I think people appreciate that.
Yeah,
You
too.
know?
Yeah.
Makes them feel good.
This is the whole layout. The feel is off the beaten path, and you're like, oh, all right, this is not like every other single brewery I've been in from Asheville to Wilmington.
Yeah.
And
Well,
this is different.
And but that was the goal, to do something a little different, bring something a little different. And, the decor is different. We just didn't want to be the same.
Well, we appreciate your
Before
schizophrenia.
started.
You do.
I feel like
So,
before
but
we really
that-
started it. But the conversation that we had in the beginning was to try to decide what was, not necessarily goals, but what's important. What's the top 3 important things here? And I think we agreed a long time ago that we want this to be somewhere that everybody feels welcome and not cliquey. There's plenty of cliquey places.
Yeah.
That you might feel kind of like an outsider when you walk in, and we want everybody to feel welcome here. When I look around in here sometimes, man, I see all different types of people, all different ages of people.
Yeah.
That's what really warms my heart. That's most important.
Yes.
That's, we want to create a cool atmosphere.
Sure.
And
And a
you guys-
welcoming
a
atmosphere.
welcoming. And you guys
That was first. Second, we decided, and this kind of was something that kind of came to be, was the music.
Mhm.
I think music's still second. Third, if you like the beer, that's cool. We work hard on the beer. It's not that we don't. It's important to us, but it's not the most important thing.
No.
Which is why we brought in other beers and wines and other things like that, because we don't want to alienate. Because how can we be welcoming if we're only offering craft beer?
Right.
That
Hey,
only
you gotta come in here and drink our beer.
So if you want a Truly or a Modelo or a Mick Ultra, we don't want you to not come here. We want this is a place for everybody. It's a music venue, and we make beer.
And on that note, let's go to the last beer.
All right,
Okay,
this is the one we've been waiting on.
I gotta explain this here. Okay.
All right.
So for about, I don't know, maybe 9 months, maybe even 12 months, Darren said, I want to make something we should have one beer that has a little meat behind it as far as ABV. I'm like, okay, yeah, I agree. I mean, it's not something we've really done or really talked about, but yeah, you want to, go ahead, go for it, or whatever you want to do. try it. Let's try it. And we'll, like any other thing that we try to put out there, we'll brew it, taste it. And most times it comes out really good, but sometimes we've had a couple bad ones. So this beer, he said, really, I want something different that's drinkable, but I want to push the ABV a little bit. And our highest ABV beer was a 6.6 at the time, and but most of our beers are 5.2, that varies 5.5. And so he put a recipe together. I'm going to go back to what I said originally. I'm not an IPA drinker.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not an IPA drinker, what's interesting about this beer is, and if you're a bourbon drinker, you'll appreciate this beer.
Okay.
So anyways, he put this recipe together. I don't even know the recipe. So
real proprietary.
It's written down. I get hit by a car.
I don't read.
I was gonna say, so basically Darren has solidified his spot at Red Buffalo because you can't get rid of it now.
Yeah,
In his will.
yeah. Well, he's talking about. Should we talk about the winter segment? He's talking about the winter segment. So right down. Anyways, so this beer, I say to people when I get, we have enough time, when it's slower, we have time to actually have some deep conversations, that if I'm not a competitive person, when you submit beers and you try to win prizes.
Oh yeah.
If we were to do that, this would be the beer that I would like to see.
I think it's the best beer I've ever had.
Yeah. So this beer, kudos to Darren. So he comes up with this beer, and it came out at 9.2%, which is, now when I go to a brewery, and again, I go into a brewery, not to be critical, I go into a brewery wanting to like it, but usually when I hit beers at anything over 7, 7.5, I usually take a couple sips and I just don't like it. This beer, when we were, testing it, I tasted it, and I was just shocked. I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
And then I had another sip, and I said, Darren, I think this is the best fucking beer you've ever made.
Wow.
And,
Sorry, kids.
No, but this is real. That's what we do, guys.
And this beer, even though I don't drink it a lot, when I drink it, I just enjoy it so much. And unlike most beers, especially American beers, you drink them cold.
Yes.
Right.
Gotta be cold.
Yeah.
This beer, as it warms up or gets closer to room temperature, it enhances the flavors. And this is a nightcap beer.
Science.
In fact, there was a guy in here Saturday from Charlotte, and they came in for one beer. They ended up having like 3 or 4 different beers,
Which is like 40 beers.
Very much.
dog lives. So, and I told him, I said, he goes, what should I try next? This is great. I'm really enjoying my time here. And I go, you driving? No, he was here with a friend. I go, you driving? He goes, yeah. I said, okay. I want you to try this. I'm going to give you a taster, but don't have a whole pint.
Yeah.
But anyways, this beer, I just think, and not an IPA drinker.
This is a brown IPA.
This is a we call it Downtown Double Brown IPA. So it's a brown IPA, not a very popular beer out there if you go to breweries with
When
IPAs.
we looked, the closest brewery I could find that was making one of these was in Vermont.
So
Dogfish Head makes one. That's the only one I know that you can buy like retail.
again, we are a small brewery. If we are on, like, we're the 1 out of 10 when it comes to the size of beer. So we don't produce a lot of beer.
Small batch to say.
Everything we do is small batch. So this beer, I'm really proud of what Darren came up with here, and I think we should stop talking. Cheers.
So it reminds me of Downtown Johnny Brown.
Me too.
That's the MTV days, man.
What a great name.
Well, we had to give it a good name because it's a great
You'll hear me. If you're in the brewery, you'll hear me screaming from time to time. Downtown Double Brown.
Yeah. That's
usually
when
when
it's
I
had
have
like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
All right,
So,
last
salute
beer.
everybody. Cheers.
Here we go.
Cheers.
So, Darren, while we're chewing on this, let me ask you, what is the one beer that you wanted to make but you've yet to make, or you've yet to perfect, that you're just waiting to introduce to the public?
Okay, yeah, I got an answer for both those actually. I would say the one I'm waiting to present to the public in a grand way.
If you can.
I just mentioned like at our first anniversary and our second anniversary, we did one very small run of pina colada beer. What I anticipate that to be our top seller next summer.
Yeah, well, next summer that'll be our big seller.
I think that'll be our biggest seller next summer is a pina colada ale.
Okay.
And maybe a pina colada IPA to go with it, because both did well. The beer, as far as perfecting a beer, actually, I'm going to leave that one on the perfecting beer because I did brew 2 batches of it, and I want to get that right, but I think that will be the beer. The beer I haven't made yet is probably going to be the Downtown Double Brown is a double IPA, but it's a brown IPA. I have not made a double IPA that's a standard or traditional IPA.
That is good, by the way.
Thank you. And so I think that would be my next stab at something. Actually, you made me think. There's a peanut butter porter that's coming out here next
That
month.
sounds delicious, by the way.
It's a peanut butter porter that I'm really excited about that is fermenting right now, actually. Due to release on Black Friday, as far as we know. Unless things change, we're going to release this one on Black Friday. And I'm really excited about this beer too.
You're excited about it.
Oh yeah. And another reason that I am is because we've had such fun with tap mixes, right?
Yeah.
So we got several beers. Y'all know about the Redhead Stepchild. You've heard about Liquid Mounds tonight.
Yeah.
We've got people that come in on a regular basis. We've got some people that mix the jalapeno and the blueberry. Now, I'm not suggesting that to your viewers, but people like tap mixes, and they found what they like in mixing those
Which is
together.
personalized.
And the peanut butter porter is going to allow for peanut butter and jelly with the blueberry tap mix.
And then with the chocolate.
With the chocolate Reese cup.
Yeah.
So I mean,
That's
it's
a good
lots
idea.
of possibilities there.
That's a good idea.
Well, so Joe, if you had from when you started almost 2 years ago to today, what's the one thing that you would do differently?
Nothing.
It is a good answer. That's a good answer.
Nothing.
Yeah.
You would do nothing differently. Nothing.
So it was that one night we should have worked.
Those jalapenos are
That night we should have kept that closed on.
First anniversary was a.
Yeah.
We really kept it mild.
That didn't happen because I don't.
That's right.
No, honestly, I am ecstatically happy of where we are today. And even though some of those accomplishments were defined almost by accident.
Yeah.
I think what we've learned over the past 2 years is there's limitless opportunities moving forward. So, I mean, we've hit home runs when we were just hoping to get on base. You know, we were just hoping to get on base when we hit a home run. And I think moving forward, there's going to be some interesting opportunities moving forward, and we'll announce those as they come.
Well, you know, from 2 years ago when you were on the Appetite Show until today, man, you've made a huge impact on the community. This is a destination place for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So you guys should be very proud of what you've done here, what you've created. And this is something that's going to be a place in the future where people who listen to this, people who move to Statesville, people who travel through, this is a destination spot, and you guys should be proud of that.
Yeah, sure.
Really, thank you.
And also, I will tell you, there's not a lot of places that I go or Kevin goes that you walk into a brewery, you're like, you know what, I want to buy a sticker. or I want to buy a hat, or I want to buy a t-shirt or a sweatshirt. But y'all have one of the coolest logos around, man.
It is.
And I'm just telling you. And they have this new sweatshirt.
It's a hoodie.
It's a hoodie, and I apologize. But you can pick this thing up here. Come on in. You can order.
And we actually, you go to our website too.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're online.
What?
Yeah.
Show them, John.
They're online.
You can order the Red Buffalo sweatshirt.
Look at, really, I wasn't lying. I wasn't lying. There's a hood.
But their hats are awesome. The stickers, t-shirts, and so yeah, you guys come out, support local, support Joe, support Darren. That little mouthy blonde behind the bar,
Absolutely.
and everything.
And so, real quick, we've been talking about beers. We went through every beer on tap,
Yep.
all Red Buffalo beers.
Yeah.
So that downtown double brown, I would definitely come and order one of those as a nightcap.
I would
for
walk
sure.
across the street.
I would do. So out of every beer here, I'm gonna for real go out on a limb. I'm gonna say that anybody come here and order any beer, you might not drink two of them, but you will not have a problem drinking one of them and trying something different.
Well, it's interesting you're saying that because about a year ago, I'm walking by the bar. I'm coming from the venue side and I'm walking past the bar. Ooh, thank you very much. And I hear my brother. My brother is talking, I could tell, to a customer that had never been here before.
Yeah.
And he says, it doesn't matter what beer you're drinking, everything on the menu is drinkable.
It is
That's
for
it.
sure.
Yeah.
It
And
is
that's
for sure.
Yeah. So I thought he did a really good job describing that.
I would agree. This is the place you go where you don't have to be scared to order anything or taste anything because it's not going to make you, cringe or anything. Every beer is at least you can drink one of them with no issue. You might try something different for your second one, but none of them are like undrinkable.
This is the place that you can be adventurous and it's safe.
And it's safe. Yeah.
Yeah, you're safe. Yeah. And you don't have to come into a whole blind. We'll be glad to get you a taste.
taste.
Yeah,
It's okay.
You want to taste?
And what be adventurous
Before
with
you
that,
commit.
and then
It's
find
right.
out what you like.
And what I was going to throw out there is, I had never had sake before.
I had not either, Kevin.
Thank you very much. You're welcome.
Until I came here, and I had seen it because another great
We talked
movie.
about that 2 years ago.
Another great movie, The Last Samurai. Tom Cruise is all about sake. I always wondered what it was. So Joe one night brought my wife over this little warming pot that I don't know any terms this, but it had the sake bottles in it. We tried it. It's definitely an adventure to try it, but I don't know of any other place to go get sake.
And we actually have sake cocktails that are
Sake
They do.
cocktails, yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
And y'all have some
Blue,
mixed
the
with
the Red
beers,
Buffalo.
right?
And
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
there's
numbers are mixed with beers. We have like the Red Buffalo is popular, which is cranberry
Black and
juice,
blue.
sake,
Oh yeah.
Black and blue has a little stout on the top.
and orange juice, right?
So it's mixed with beer.
And actually, what turned out to be
I
the
knew
most
I-
popular one is the Black and Blue, which is sake, coconut Red Bull, which surprisingly is blue,
I've been hearing about that one.
and
My
the
son-
black is
my son's
chocolate
girlfriend.
stout.
Absolutely, they do. They do.
And Noah, and that's
Yeah,
apparently
yeah.
they're like
And so the thing with the sake cocktails is that, if you just to break it down, if you want to go to a bar and these drinks are based on vodka type drinks.
Right.
If you go to the bar and you get a screwdriver, for example, you're going to get 1 ounce of vodka and the rest of it's going to be orange juice.
Right.
So the sake that we're using is 15%, almost 16%. So that's going to, come over as 30 proof, right? 32, whatever.
Yep.
We're going to put 4 ounces of that into the. We're going to put 4 ounces of that into the cup, and then so you really start equaling out to being pretty close to the same amount that you would get in a vodka drink, and you will not taste the sake in any of these cocktails.
right.
That's where you want to get the warm sake if you want to actually appreciate.
Yeah, if you like-
the sake.
Now, backstory, real quick. I spent almost 8 years in Japan.
Yeah.
So when I'm thinking about this concept of a brewery, who thinks of sake with a brewery? So I was like, hey, I really like to serve hot sake.
Yeah.
And so we did that, and we opened up in November, so that was the cold weather, so it made sense to have warm sake. And then we went into spring, where we need to maybe make some sake cocktails. That's where the Black and Blue came in. We have a sake
Which
leader,
Joe's invention, black and blue.
I'll take credit for that. Sakurita, which is basically a margarita. They use sake instead of tequila. So we've come up with some different sake. People say it, sake squirt. Sake and squirt.
Which is always interesting for bartenders to talk about.
But anyways, we've come up with some different ideas and just had some fun with it.
Well, there's a lot of options here, and you come taste these beers that we've already said it's you don't really have to venture out. You order, just point at something that's going to be good. There's sake here. It's a warm environment.
Didn't Mr. Miyagi get wasted on sake bomb?
He did. And he was singing to his wife.
Well, she passed away.
She did, but he was singing to the picture. So I'm gonna tell this story real fast.
Yep, go ahead.
I met Joe before Red Buffalo had opened, and I don't remember how. I think Valerie gave you my number, and you called me because we were gonna talk about T-shirts and whatnot. And I came and met you. It was like, hey, heard you're up in a brewery. Let's talk. But we met in the front room. It was still, kind of rough in there or whatever. But we had a discussion. I was here for probably an hour. And we talked, and you told me kind of about your vision, what you wanted to do, what you wanted to feel like, all this stuff. I went home that afternoon, and I told my wife, I was like, hey, I just met this guy named Joe. He's going to open up this place called Red Buffalo Brewing. And I was like, he is probably one of the most down-to-earth guys that understands what this little town of Statesville needs. And I was like, he's going to do big things. And she was like, really? I was like, yes, hands down. I knew that you were going to do something big here from that first meeting. So
thank you.
So I appreciate our friendship and everything we've done together and your business. And I think it's awesome. And Darren, you being on board, I think it's been a big benefit to Statesville. And I'm glad that people have come here and continue to come here and support you guys. And I want you to be here for years and years and years and years.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
When my kids ride by and go, Uncle Joe, Red Buffalo, that means you made an impact. So, hey, everybody, again, appreciate you listening. Check out Red Buffalo. Come by here. Joe, what's the address?
108 North Center Street, downtown Statesville, North Carolina.
Bingo. So you guys come in, check all these beers out. You're going to love it. If you like beer, if you like a good atmosphere, you love music, well, then this is the place to be. We appreciate it. This is Brandon.
Kevin.
Joe.
Thanks for having us, guys. Darren.
Thanks so much, guys. Have a blast.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you again soon.
See ya. I gotta go get it. We're still recording right now.
Yep.
Still recording.